The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Coming up tonight, home and business owners in Grand Bahama anticipating lower electricity bills as early as Thursday. The news greeted with open arms. We'll talk about that. F&M leader Michael Pintard says he's not going anywhere. This after the F&M says it will not have a convention this year. Meanwhile, there is growing social media talk on Andre Rollins and his taking the spotlight in the House. We talk about it. More on that viral video showing a visitor to the Bahamas in his attempt to escape from the tourism police station. Well, one of the officers suffered a dislocated shoulder. Those tourists charged today. We get caught up. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, we will get to the news of the lower electricity bills and more on energy for thousands of Grand Bahamians and Bahamians in a moment. But first, it is the first meaningful step on the road to a new international airport in Grand Bahama. Today, Aviation Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis announced that a new partnership is on the table with the Manchester Group, a major UK-based airport operator. Minister Colby-Davis, of course, talked about that during her 2026-2027 budget on energy, aviation, and utilities. Well, Minister Colby-Davis joins me this evening here on the show. It's good to have you here. Good evening and welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening, Shanique, and I am happy to be back.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm happy to have you, and thank you for, after presenting today, making the time this evening, because Grand Bahamians want to hear more about this, as well as their lower electricity bills, but we'll get to that in a moment. But let's just talk about this. We know that for years, this is the kind of news Grand Bahama has been waiting to hear more about now. The thought behind it is that once a new airport is in place, that will be a real tangible first step, a meaningful step to turning the economy of Grand Bahama around in the right direction. It's already turned, we all agree on that, but certainly something that really kind of put that turnaround really in place to attract more visitors and all the rest of it. Let's just talk about this I guess, beginning conversations with the Manchester Airport Group.
So, Shanique, you're absolutely right. That airport is so important to Grand Bahamians.
Yes.
They deserve their new and improved modern international airport. It's important to the workers, the staff that has been working in those conditions for such a long time since the storm. It's important to the economy. It's important to our touristic product. And so getting the airport built and completed for them is a top priority. I met briefly last week with the Manchester Group, who I was advised from the team that has been working this with former Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and that the Manchester Airport Group were the ones who won the RFP for them to be the operators. And so they've been working along with the Freeport Airport Development Company to go through the initial phase one of getting to their new airport. So where they are now is, I'm advised that they have some funding secured. So I'll get more details around that to give you more of the specifics at another time, because you know I'm always here visiting with you to give you information for the Bahamian people to hear.
Yes.
But I'm also advised that the phase one deals with the airport design, deals with the geotech work, deals with the flood mitigation.
Oh, that's hugely important.
Hugely,
because you don't want to go and invest. Are we at a place where we can talk figures as yet? Because you don't. Obviously, it's millions,
probably in the hundreds
of millions,
yeah.
and so you don't want to be able to invest that amount of money to get
Exactly.
something that is deserving of Grand Bahama and that destination to
Yeah.
incur flooding again, as the airport before had the
Correct.
issues for so many years.
And so also, apart from the briefing and the geotech work that they're doing, what's also a priority is to ensure proper consultation is ongoing with our stakeholders in the next couple of months. So everyone can be able to give their input, what they feel may be the best way as you build out the design. You want to make sure that you have consultation with the stakeholders who matter, who are going to be affected, and hopefully in a good way by the building of the airport. And so that's a priority. My first initial briefing, I thought it went very well. I'm looking forward to continuing to work and build out the design plans and get through all of the necessary approvals to move forward and have the start of that airport.
So it is safe to say that the Manchester Airport Group is locked in.
They are locked in as the operators.
As the operators. And when you say operators, obviously they will construct the build out, and you said funding is already in place, or certainly part of the funding. That means that they will also manage, because they have a reputation for.
I understand that the RFP was a consortium. So there is a team that's already working along with them, Bahamians who are working on the design plan, the flow, and everything. So all of this is what I'll be getting more details of. The first initial briefing was for me to understand where we are, for me to meet with them and go through what the government priorities are so that they can understand how important it is to get to a place where we are cutting that ribbon for Grand Bahamians
absolutely.
to have their new airport.
Oh, absolutely. And I know you're only in the seat for just over 3 weeks. Matter of fact, not even 3 weeks, perhaps two-ish, a little over two. So I will frame these following questions more like this. Are you hoping to, along with the consortium, or everybody who is around the table, to perhaps present where conditions will be outlined that the government, that Manchester Group must meet certain criteria, so that if by any chance there's a falling out somehow, and as can happen, that there will be stipulations in place?
Absolutely. So we worked very close with the Office of the Attorney General while we were building out the agreements in the energy transformation, energy reform, and there was quite a number of agreements. One of the key things that we had was KPIs, and that's key performance indicators. You have to have KPIs to make sure they're meeting the standard. And then you have to have condition precedents, CPs. You have to meet certain conditions before you can move into a phase where you feel like you're locked in, you're protected, you're safe in this contractual arrangement. But even after the fact, there are still parts of the project, parts of the operation that will have to be met based on what we've agreed. And when you fall short, then you go to the clauses that talk about breach and penalties and what have you. I believe that the Office of the Attorney General was very instrumental in providing oversight and guiding us through that process with the energy reform. And so we will definitely have the same oversight for any of the other projects ongoing to make sure the Bahamian people are protected. Right?
Yes, and informed along the way. I know that you're quite new to the ministry, but I just want to ask, are they making any demands of government in terms of, listen, this must be in place, here's where the government needs to show up so that we can better and sort of more smoothly move forward?
So like I said, it was initial briefing for me to meet with them, understand them. I think the first initial request is for us to assess the geotech and the flood mitigation reports, and for everyone to come to an agreed position in terms of how we will rebuild the airport for a safe and efficient, but one that can withstand any incident in terms of storm or hurricane if it was to happen in the case like it did years ago. And so that's the place where we are now. We're talking about environmental concerns, hurricane concerns, being prepared, storm readiness. And so those were more of the conversation we're having collaboratively, not as demands. Now I can assure you, when you get down into the nitty-gritty of the legal discussions and really putting everything in a tight framework, I think those would definitely be more detail coming out of that.
Yes, absolutely. And is it too early to talk about timelines in terms of we already? I know phase one.
Well, we're in phase one, so I can't say for sure and lock in any timelines, but I can assure you and your watching and listening audience, this remains to be a priority of this government. And so rest assured, it's a priority, and so we'll be getting full attention and the support needed to get us to the place of having a new and improved international airport in Grand Bahama.
It really is a very important announcement. It's one that Grand Bahamians have been waiting for years to hear because, again, the hotel and all the other agreements and projects in the pipeline, the thought is if this airport happens, when this airport happens, those things will just follow. And so this is certainly very important for Grand Bahama. This is coming from a British citizen who's watching this evening. Does government need to pay pre-construction ground prep before Manchester can begin? Well, I know, of course, you say that it's in phase one of discussions and negotiations, so those things have not been brought up as yet. But I thank you for your question, viewer. Thank you so much. They participate greatly in the show, and so I certainly value that. So, of course, you talked also the aviation aspect of your presentation today. Obviously, Grand Bahama was a headliner. We quickly saw that and grabbed onto it. But there are so many other airports and airport projects that are happening around the country to again sort of resurrect, strengthen, and keep those economies going. Let's talk about some other ones you announced. Ragged Island, for example.
Ragged Island, Rum Key.
Rum Key.
Rum Key.
Rum Key, yes.
Is the one. Rum Key was signed. I actually was at the signing with the Deputy Prime Minister, and that was about maybe 35 days ago. I think it was just before election. I couldn't believe when I saw the phase or the stage that they are. They are already putting up the walls. And so we're going Friday to do a site visit with the team that's been working along with the Renaissance Airport Revolution or what have you. And so I'm excited about that. Bimini has been moving very fast. We see improvements in Cat Island, the larger airport in Cat Island. We also see that North Eleuthera had the footings and everything placed in. And so I saw the MP, Petty, shared some videos of a lot of the materials are now landed. And so much more work will be moving fast because most of the time, some of our delays is the shipping of the key materials to really start getting the work and seeing the walls go up. And so I'm excited that their materials have landed. We've had a lot of movement with the airport. Still have a lot of ways to go, but I'm quite happy with the progress that I've seen. Deadman's Key, I spoke about Long Island as well, Deadman's Key. So quite a lot going on.
You also talk as a part of this sort of airport renaissance aviation overhaul, you talked about the new gates for LPIA to attract even larger aircraft.
So the present position of LPIA is they've outgrown the amount of tourists or the amount of airplanes that we are now attracting. And there's more room to grow. So with the knowledge that you have almost outgrown your airport infrastructure and you have room to grow, which means that other airlines are waiting to come in, then there is the discussion of an opportunity for redevelopment. Redevelopment that allows you to grow as our tourism industry continues to grow. And people use New Providence now, in most cases, as their landing spot. So they're transiting to our family islands and they're excited to see the Bahamas. And so we need to make sure that we're positioning ourselves by being able to expand and redevelop when we see the need. And that's a discussion that's happening as well now.
Now, we have a comment from San Andres. I hope I pronounced that correctly, says that San Andros is urgently in need of a terminal building. I'm sure you're aware of that. And
Yes, I am. I actually have a meeting on that with Minister Lundy tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Well, did you hear that,
yes,
viewer?
Yes.
This viewer,
me.
Mark A. Scott, did you hear that?
I want everyone to rest assured that they're members of Parliament, all who know what the needs are as it pertains to airport infrastructure, has already been flagging me down and taking whatever little time I could find in the midst of our budget contribution. So that is during our lunch break that me and Minister Lundy will be sitting and going through some of the concerns he wanted to raise, and then we could look at moving that project forward. So yes.
No, I know as you continue this sort of redevelopment and renaissance, as it was called. I heard Kenneth Roma say that several times. So as you continue this, you want Bahamians to grow along with it. In fact, you have said that you want more Bahamian pilots and aviation administrators and professionals. What is going to how is that going to look in terms of reaching out to those people, getting them trained, skilled, and involved?
So we have been discussing ways that we could advance our aviation sector, obviously through regulatory upgrades, changes, and making sure that we are positioning the Bahamas for the global stage that we're putting ourselves on in aviation, but also partnerships with UB and BTVI, partnerships with some of those international flight schools to create possibly an aviation academy here. We have a Department of Aviation now. It's important for us to build capacity there. So utilize some of the skill set. We have some persons that are qualified to help train, guide, and build out an aviation framework. Bahamians who are working in the sector, whether they're working here or they're working elsewhere, we have that capacity that exists now. I think we are almost at a point where you can say we're really the standard when it comes to our pilots. So we want to encourage more of them to stay in country and pass on the knowledge and to strengthen and continue to build out our aviation sector. And so that's something that's also a focus and priority.
This evening, I am starting tonight's show with Aviation, Energy and Utilities Minister JoBeth Colby Davis. She presented her contribution to the 2026-2027 budget today and is here to talk about some key areas that concern you. And of course, that is keeping the economy growing. You heard her talk about aviation. Well, when we come back after this break, energy, a major announcement. In fact, the people of Grand Bahama may love you more than I don't know who tonight, because they said tomorrow they need to see exactly what you talked about today. Beyond the Headlines is back with JoBeth Colby Davis right after the break. Stay close.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh. Luckily, it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! Help! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes your process you and entertains them 24/7.
Here at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store, we believe in our prices. That's why we offer our price match guarantee. If you find any of our items being sold for a lower price at any of our competitors, whether that's online or in store, let us know about it and we'll beat the price right there on the spot. No one does it like CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
My name is Charles Wesley Rowe. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 birds up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables, anything what I eat, they eat. Right now, we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Jamaica Road, the western side, Silverstone Primary School.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. In this segment, we have still with us Minister of Energy, Aviation and Utilities, JoBeth Colby-Davis, just hours after she delivered her 2026-2027 communication to the budget. She's here to talk about some of the key announcements she made in some of those areas. Of course, you heard at the top of the show in the first segment, the announcements as it relates to aviation and shoring up that industry. By the way, hello, we have some Brits watching. Okay. They have a group and they participate, and so
awesome.
they just mentioned that and said it, and so hello to you all. Thank you for watching. So let's shift to energy. Energy, Lord Jesus, the summer. Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about it. So, but here's some good news. We'll start here. Yeah. Some 17,000 residents and 1,500 small business owners in Grand Bahama could look forward to a decrease in their electricity bills as early as tomorrow. Now, when you mentioned this, well, first of all, it's gone all over. Like I've seen it in several
Good.
Places on WhatsApp.
Good.
And so let's just talk about that.
I was hoping for that to happen sooner.
Yes.
Shanique, I was hoping for that to happen sooner because that has been one of the key things the Prime Minister really wanted to do for Grand Bahamians since we began this energy reform, to have them included into the uniform tariff that every other Bahamian on every other island was benefiting from, having that uniformity. So even where the logistical cost is greater in some instances, we have a uniform rate on Abaco, Exuma, Eleuthera, Andros, Bimini. Everyone's paying that uniform rate except
Grand Bahama.
Right? And it's because they were private. So it's not their fault. It's just that their utility company was not aligned with BPL's tariff rates as approved by our regulator, ERCA. And so now that the government has acquired Grand Bahama Power Company, the key thing is to get them under that same uniformity, to remove some of those extra added costs that you'd see. Minister Moxie always spoke about that storm recovery that continued to stay on your bill years and years after, and have them adopt the rates that everyone else was seeing on their bills. And that allows them to enter into our equity rate adjustment program that sees the 0 to 200 kilowatt hour base rate as zero on everyone's bill. So that now is a part of their billing.
What difference will this make for them? I mean, Grand Bahama has been needing a break and also sort of a hand up.
It's the start to them really seeing some of the relief that others have experienced with the energy reform, right? And so where instances where they were paying 0.22 cents, they're paying 0.22 cents when there's 351 to 800 kilowatt hours usage on their bill, that will drop to 0.11.
Oh, great saving.
Yeah, that's the type of savings you're trying to see. That's for the residential, where the commercial, I believe, was experiencing, is it 0.18 or somewhere around there cents to 20,000 to 100,000 kilowatt hour. That drops to 0.14. So there's savings that's automatic by them coming under the uniform tariff.
Now that's all good news, right? But people say, man, BPL can't keep other places on, and they trying to take on Grand Bahama.
BPL has been doing a very good job in terms of managing the state of their assets to keep power connected with age-old equipment is something that we have to, at some point, start to really give credit to our engineers and our technicians who sometimes rebuild parts that are not being sold anymore to make sure they bring an engine back to power, to make sure they get a transformer working, right? And in New Providence, I spoke about this in my contribution today. We don't want outages to happen. We do not want outages because BPL makes no money if there's an outage. Our KWH that is on your bill every month is based on your usage. So if nothing is coming to you, you're not using anything, therefore we can't charge you. So that is always a priority for a utility company, for electricity company, to make sure you have electricity, because that's the industry. You get power, we get to charge you because you used some of our power, right? So their focus has been to do the foundational work on the energy reform. But at the same time, we are faced with being in very hot summer months.
Right.
And the type of heat that we naturally see. Remember, these guys work this system, some of them been with BPL 15, 20 plus years, right? So they know what the usage is normally on their system in May, June, July.
Yes.
So our peak month in our books, our peak month is actually September. That's our peak month, and that's usually when we have those major storms come anyway. That's when it's extremely hot, even in the sea, you know. And
Right.
then, exactly.
Yeah,
So
but you experience
our
that level of
records
heat
in BPL
yes.
says our peak is September. So when you are saying summer readiness and maintenance, we're actually working towards being really in place for the peak months. May has been seen as a very, very hot month. And how do you tell? You tell by, if you look at May the last 5 years and see your usage, your KWH on the system, how much capacity you had to use in your megawatts, and you compare it to what you're using in this May, that's an automatic. The numbers don't lie. And so we had a break in our foundational project when the unfortunate incident happened with the employee from Pike who passed.
Yeah.
And that took out 8 weeks from our foundational work. Everything completely paused because there was that incident, right? So we now have been pushed back. That's a delay. That's a project delay. This is some of the things that you discuss when you're negotiating those agreements, these unfortunate delays on the project, on the timeline, and how you make that back up. So we unfortunately have to complete those in months that we thought wouldn't be so hot, but unfortunately is hot. When
Yeah.
you're working on those wires and them systems and them circuits, one, faults show up. So they're seeing faults on the system while they're working that naturally would not see because you're not putting so much demand on it. The second thing is some of our circuits were removed and de-energized offline in areas where we naturally would send our load through 2 circuits. We've been utilizing 1, not expecting this increase that we've seen. So when you're using 1, but demand goes up, the load goes up, the pressure goes up on that circuit. So you're having some occurrences that you naturally wouldn't have expected. 1, if you're working in cooler temperatures, and 2, if we were able to complete it in the timeline that we originally expected, but for that incident.
I know that this reform, energy reform, is something you announced in the last term. How competitive is it when power outages are happening in many other nations around the world, and they are bigger nations with, I guess, stronger might and muscle,
and more
and I bet
advanced.
they and I bet they are more at the front of the line than, say, the Bahamas. how much more challenging is that to be able to still get us in a timely fashion where we need to be in terms of this total reform?
So when it comes to, you mean sourcing
equipment and that kind
material,
of thing.
Well, it's certain ones that in the industry you know them as long lead items. So long lead items, once you already see your project, we already see clear that by 2026, 2027, we want to start commissioning some of these projects. So that's why when I initially got in, that was 2 years ago, remember, I was discussing this from, I first got the Ministry of Energy. That allowed us the time to place your long lead item orders. So you would see in Eleuthera, we have all kind of trailers now on the land where they're going to be putting up.
Yes,
yes. So our long lead items are now arriving, right? And some of our partners have been discussing some of the T&D items that BPL would need to get them to the table to ask for these materials and equipment so that they could begin doing the transmission and distribution work on those islands where we're bringing those hybrid microgrid projects and plants online first.
And I heard you announce it today, and I was quite happy to hear it. This would mitigate a lot of this, particularly in the summer.
A lot of the outage, you would see minimized. A lot of that would become distant. But the one thing that I want people to take from what I discussed today is not only minimize the outage, but it allows for our country to continue to grow and develop. And that's what's important. Our family islands are growing. Investments are going there. People are moving back to the island where their parents were born and they have property. And so it allows growth. It allows expansion. That's why we have to tackle the challenges of our energy sector. I am not happy when our people experience outages. But those are some of the growing pains for where we have to take our country.
And New Providence can also smile as well this summer, right?
New Providence could smile, but you know, where there are challenges, we have the team equipped to address it. We have them there.
Minister, I have you on speed dial.
Smiling.
I have
it's a
on
beautiful
speed
smile.
dial. But I thank you very much. I know it's been a long day, but you committed to come here and speak to the Bahamian people tonight. I thank you very much. Of course, Aviation, Energy and Utilities Minister JoBeth Colby Davis on the heels of her budget communication this morning, here this evening to talk about some of those key areas that interest all of us everywhere across this nation. And thank you for stopping by this evening and speaking to those.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Well, when we come back, the Hot Topics panel is here. What do they have to say about some of her announcements and also some of the things that she kind of just rests on the table for us? Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. Stay close.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At Investar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how. Everybody get up.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well. Eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you all tuned in. This evening, I want to get to this comment coming in from Eleuthera. Shanique, tell the minister, I saw the trailers at the BPL plant in Hatchet Bay today. You can see the work in progress. Of course, that is in response to Minister Jobeth Colby Davis stating that that work is happening in Abaco and Eleuthera, and that the trailers and whatnot are there. And so there's someone from Eleuthera this evening saying that they saw it, and so yeah, they absolutely saw it, and they are happy to see movement in that regard. Well, we're going to jump in right here because I'm not going to talk for, I have a lot to get to with my Hot Topics panel. And so I'm going to ask them very, very quickly just to respond to the airport announcement. Well, actually, let's talk about, since we're on energy and BPL and all the rest of it. Good evening, Peggy, Gabrielle, Howard. Wonderful to have you here. It's good to see each of you. You all, let's just talk about energy, whether it's the Grand Bahamians expected to experience savings as of tomorrow. You heard me read from Eleuthera saying, listen, hey, the trailers are here. We're looking forward to relief. And of course, you heard her talk about New Providence, but the work goes on for this energy reform. Your thoughts, Peggy, Gabrielle, Howard?
Hi, good night, Bahamas. Good night, Shanique. Thank you once again for having me. What can I say? Progress continues. And that's what we're seeing and come before us. That what was promised, that what was campaigned upon, progress in this country, and that's why it was a good idea to re-elect this administration. And so Eleuthera progress is happening. Grand Bahama, I celebrate you. I celebrate you. And this, I think, is the beginning of a new era in Grand Bahama where things will continue to progress on their behalf. And so as we continue to watch, I listened to the minister. I have a speech before me going through it, and she made commitment of great things, especially in aviation, to continuation of the airports in the Family Island, North Eleuthera. And so I'm cheering, I'm excited for all islands as they continue. I can't say it again, progress.
Gabrielle, jump in quick.
Any relief for the Bahamian people is definitely one I welcome and I celebrate with them. Airports are needed. We are an archipelago. We have to be able to, before we can even welcome anyone else here, be able to maneuver back and forth from our family of islands. And I really wanted to mention to the minister before she left, upgrades to some of the, I didn't get to hear about the upgrades to some of the existing airports. I know they're building some new ones, but I was down there in Eleuthera, Governor's Harbor, ain't got no AC. So if they could look at that, they had one super wash fan in there, and I thought I was gonna pass out, and they also do not sell water. that was
But
alarming to me.
isn't there
No
a sort of a
concession,
concession area?
not in Governor's
Some
Harbor.
stores.
No.
Well, I need to go and see if
And
I
it
can have a
was
business at the
so-
Governor's Harbor Airport. Then.
Please, and
Yeah,
it's,
I need it.
it's
yeah.
a lucrative thing they can
It is.
get for
It
the
is.
Lutheran to get that spot in there. They make me throw away my water, and then I go on in the back there, and it was hot, and there wasn't no water. So please, Minister, if you can look into that, upgrading that airport, so that, because water is a basic need. If somebody passes out, it's the summer heat.
No, but sometimes there are delays.
Things
You
are
just
hap-
need,
yes.
and then it's a good idea to be able to have that once you've checked in. That's the
Yes.
area you're talking about.
So upgrades, I love the idea of new airports, but also some upgrades to the existing ones to make them comfortable for travelers in case they experience delays and just for traveling purposes ordinarily.
Yeah, Shanique, good evening to you, Gabby, Peggy, and to the Bahamas. I'm very, very impressed with how Minister Colby Davis appears to be hitting the ground running. She seems to be interested in making an impact and delivering results. I mean, she's been in her capacity for just over 2 weeks now. I heard some snippets of her contribution today, and just seeing her sitting there, looking at her and seeing that she's intent on doing a good job and making an impact and bringing results. I admonish Grand Bahama's residents, however, to just be a bit cautiously optimistic. The announcements are great, but as far as energy is concerned in these bills, I want you, Shanique, to have some folks from Grand Bahama 4 or 5 months from now, when they've already experienced 4 or 5 billing cycles, to come on your show with their bills, and then we'll compare what was happening before to now. And I say cautiously optimistic because, we had the F&M administration had a guy of a lighter hue with some nice hair, pump fake with a signature that he was signing an agreement. And then we had the last Davis administration eating hors d'oeuvres prematurely and knocking down buildings and then fixing the glass later. So announcements don't impress me. We want to see the impact and the results that Minister Colby Davis has been talking about. And so I admonish my brothers and sisters in Grand Bahama to just be cautiously optimistic and cheer on your government, because it's the government of the Bahamas. It's not the PLP government. It's never the F&M government. When you elect a government, it's the government of the Bahamas. So let's cheer them on.
Absolutely, Howard. Great point. And certainly, of course, as you know, that I will certainly speak with residents of Grand Bahama in the short term and moving forward. I'm rooting for them, absolutely. Meanwhile, you all, a family vacation to the Bahamas took a costly turn after 6 Colorado cruise ship passengers were ordered to pay thousands of dollars in fines and compensation to police officers following a brawl at the Nassau cruise port that left one officer with a dislocated shoulder. I wish, guys, I wish we have this video to show as we talk. Videos of that reported incident went viral this week. The group in the teepee who, I tell you, give me something to drink while I talk. The group who, what's happened with the teepee, y'all? It's stuck, eh? Okay then, fine. I'll look here. I'll look this way. Yes, arrived in Nassau aboard the Disney Fantasy on June 7th, appeared before Senior Magistrate Cara Turnquest to answer a series of charges arising from the incident. 3 police officers were listed as virtual complainants in this matter, including one officer who, again, as I said, suffered a dislocated shoulder during the attack. The defendants, Danielle Duran, Gabrielle Aguilar, Jalen Duran, Irvin Aguilar, Andrew Tapia, and Jose Duran all faced various charges, including assaulting police officers, causing harm, damage to property, which involved a glass door of a police station, disorderly behavior, resisting arrest, using obscene language, and escape. We see it right there. This one escaped. Now, Danielle Duran, a Denver-based nurse, received one of the stiffest penalties, being fined $16,600 in order to pay $25,000 in compensation to the injured officer or face 1 year at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. Jalen Duran and Gabrielle Aguilar were each fined $11,600 in order to pay compensation or serve 6 months in prison. Irvin Aguilar was fined $28,000 or ordered to pay $25,000 and ordered to pay $25,000 in compensation or face 3 months at B-Docks. Court officials indicated that Jose Duran, identified as the owner of a Colorado trucking company, and Andrew Tapia had already paid their fines. So there you see it, panelists, hefty fines all around for all involved. I imagine social media is having a field day because we figured this exactly what would happen. Your thoughts on this?
Well deserved. Well deserved that they got fined, and they will hopefully tell their friends.
Hefty fines too. We've not seen fines on that level in a minute.
Yeah, or go to Foxell. Yeah, that will teach you.
I'm happy that the fines were compensation, in the form of compensation for the officer. A lot of times we find compensation going to the state, and it doesn't benefit the victim. So in this case, this officer dislocated his shoulder, will not be able to work and do his job, and who knows how that's even going to heal. So I feel like they should also serve some prison time. It shouldn't have been or, it should have been and go to jail. Because y'all take us for low fence. Y'all come in here, and it seems like this is a pattern of bad behavior from visitors.
Yes.
You could act up, you could do whatever in the Bahamas, because they could give you a slap on the wrist, and we rich. We could pay the little fine, and we could go about our business. No, pay the fine and serve some time, and after you then spend that little couple of months in B-Docks, you ain't gonna do it no more.
Shanique, I completely agree. I think that they look at us as a banana republic. You come to the Bahamas and you came here as a tourist, you have your business, you have a little bit of money, you're an elite somewhere else, and you're 25,000 and 16,000 and 10 and 11,000. When you're someone who is of a different socioeconomic status, that's like nothing for these guys to write these checks and pay their way out of a problem. But you come to the Bahamas as a tourist, right? And when you come here and you have that kind of disrespectful disregard for law and order, I mean, these people were in the police station carrying on like that. Now,
attacking police officers,
and my thing is, I do not think any one of those individuals would do that in the police station in Colorado.
No, sir. No.
If they were in the police station in Colorado. And so like Gabby said, they take us for low fence. And I believe that the fines should have been and jail time. Because once you get in Foxhell prison with Bubba and them, the drop-in soap is a different experience. When you gotta use that slop bucket, that's a different experience. So when you then pay your fine and now you could go back home to Colorado and talk about how bad y'all carry on and share your stuff on social media, you have gotten a slap on the wrist. So I think we need to start looking at jail time for these people when they come as tourists and end up being criminals.
Yes, I totally agree. We're tired of seeing what appears to be just getting away with a lot here in the Bahamas. It's not the first time tourists have acted out here on these shores. And what's happened? They have always been allowed to just pay their way out of it and go back home to wherever they're from. And so certainly, of course, something that is quite vexing. I want to get to this this evening. Let's just move along. So F&M leader Michael Pintard says, listen, no way, Jose. There is no resignation on the horizon as far as he's concerned. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard is pushing back against growing calls for him to step aside following the party's defeat last month. Pintard is dismissing criticism from individuals. He says that they do not have any relevance in the party's decision-making process, while maintaining that the F&M has already made its choice on the way forward. Despite questions about his leadership after the election loss, Pintard says he remains committed to leading the party and is prepared to continue the work of rebuilding the organization.
Relevant people are the council members of the party, and they've made a determination, not because I petitioned them or asked them. I placed myself in their hands. I was certainly prepared to do whatever they determined. I'm a team player, and they made a determination that they wish for me to stay on, notwithstanding the fact that they were presented with options.
Well, there you have it. Pintard says, listen, they made the decision to have him stay on. I want to get your thoughts on that, you all. Of course, we know that this is a week after the FNM has announced that it will not go to convention this year. In fact, it has put its convention off to 2027. But Pintard says, listen, he's in the seat. He intends to stay there. Peggy, Gabrielle, Howard? Howard, maybe you jump in first.
Yeah, all right. So for me, Shanique, I really, and I said on your show before, I believe that when 2/3 of your leadership was taken down in a general election and only Mr. Pintard as the leader prevailed, you have to go into a convention with stability and part of your leadership. You cannot totally gut your party after a general election. I know we always throw in there, well, Westminster say you should resign. Well, we have what I call a bastardized system, and we don't comply fully with the Westminster requirements of executing government, right? So that we can stop that right there. I believe that it was in the FNM's best interest to keep Mr. Pintard on for those stability purposes and to keep their party intact. Now, I expected, though, that they would have had a convention this year as required by their constitution, which I believe is every 2 years, and the last one would have been in 2024. So Gabby can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the case. Now, here's why. Mr. Pintard should have wanted that to happen rather than after the election being kept in place by acclamation at a central council meeting. Right? That is not the true litmus test. The true litmus test is at convention. If they had gone into a convention in October or November of this year, Mr. Pintard could have continued to make his case. He would have had a few months as the leader of the opposition in his performance. And what he could do is say, look, give me another chance. I can lead us into this next election. Mr. Davis is probably not going to run for a third term. I'm here. If he prevails, Shanique, this now cements him in his position at a convention a mere 4 months after general election loss. But when you defer out to another year and 4 months, it makes it look like something untoward is going on. You're trying to do your little funny stuff to keep yourself in place, and I don't think it's a good look.
Yes.
Shanique, Michael Pintard is an FNM problem. It's not a Bahamian problem. What is our concern, though, is Michael Pintard is the leader of the official opposition. Good governance needs strong opposition. And so far, I've seen crazy opposition instead of strong opposition. And so we need them to get their ass together, stop being crazy in the House of Assembly, and do the people business to ensure good governance.
So my opinion on this differs a little bit from a lot of persons. I want to echo the sentiments, though, of Howard when he said, I believe that they should have gone to a convention. The last convention was held the 1st of June, 2024. And 6 months would have made November, 6 months from the general election. That would have been more than enough time, as Howard mentioned, to solidify any type of decision making. Here's the real issue. Everyone's focusing on leadership, the leader post. A political organization functions with organs. Your CEO, who is the chairman, has already said he's exiting stage left. So where are you getting these plans from? Where are you getting this regrouping from? Where is the strategy coming from? You've had party officers who abandoned their position prior to the general election. So how do you intend to function for possibly the next 16 months on an exoskeleton crew? It just cannot be effective and efficient because the crown does not just rest on Michael Pintard's head. People need to understand that he does not make the Free National Movement. He is the leader, but a political organization runs on its organs. You need a chairman, you need deputies, you need vice chairmen, you need working political arms and branches so that you can be an effective and efficient organization to possibly win government.
What do you all make of the social media? And this talk is getting louder. It started as a rumble, and now it's loud talk, and it's getting louder, that Andre Rollins is eclipsing everyone else in the House Gabrielle, you talk about needing organs and various tentacles to be a full-fledged, functioning, effective, impactful opposition, getting ready for perhaps governance in the next general election. What are your thoughts about Andre Rollins and the fact that people are, I don't know if they're trying to just poke whatever they're doing, but they are saying Andre Rollins is out there and getting people's attention and have them talking more than anyone else.
Well, you know, Shanique, on Facebook, there's almost an agreement that Mr. Andre Rollins came to take over. I think it is explosive, aggressive behavior in the House of Assembly. To me, it appears as if he is auditioning for a role. Not only him, but Mr. Thompson from Grand Bahama. They all seem to be focused on who is the loudest, who's the best spoken. Like there's a position open or opening, and they're auditioning for it. It is very interesting. But people are making their conclusion based on what we see on parliamentary channel.
I beg to differ. I think Andre Rollins has always had that personality. He's always been he's a doctor with good bedside manners. People love him. He has charisma. He has uniqueness. He has nerve. He has the talent for politics, hence why he went into a seat and got himself elected. The thing about it is you have 8 members in there. All of them are going to have unique personalities. All of them have something to bring to the table. Andre is going to bring what he has to offer, and he's going to give Long Island the best representation. So again, people are focusing on, well, what he's doing, what's Pintar doing? He needs to be doing his job so that when 5 years roll around or whenever the PM calls an election, he can be reelected.
Yeah, they all are doing what they do. I mean, Andre Rollins has a personality. He's a passionate guy. He has a flair for the dramatic. This is nothing new for him. I mean, we might forget because we haven't seen him in the House of Assembly for 10 plus years, right? But
we haven't forgotten Andre Rollins.
Yeah,
we have not forgotten.
This is Andre Rollins 2.0. And, you know, right now it might look like Mr. Pintard is a bit subdued, but he throws his blows too, but he's a different personality. Look, Shanique, victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan, okay? So there are going to be people in certain quarters who are going to be calling for Mr. Pintard to leave. It's time to resign. When you take a beating of 33-8, it stings. You have some F&Ms out there. I mean, F&Ms love their party, just like PLPs and COI. And when you have suffered a tremendous loss like this, I mean, it's clear when you're emotional, you want a change, right? But Andre Rollins is going to do what he does. And at the appropriate time, him and anyone else has the opportunity to put their names forward.
Yeah, no, we always enjoy an Andre Rollins. He makes things quite interesting in Parliament. Certainly, of course, we had to and will continue to discuss what social media is saying. But here are some comments coming in. The organization rises and falls on leadership. The chairman is not the leader. He is the COO of an organization. For you, Gabrielle, Eleuthera is saying this, that the concession stands you speak about says that the Governor's Harbor Airport, they are not open as yet due to the use of customs and immigration sharing space in the domestic departure lounge until the international arrivals area is completed. But they do have the licenses and everything is in place. They are just, that airport continues to be under construction, is what I'm hearing.
It ain't that. I almost passed out from the heat.
Well,
what am I supposed to do? Wait for some water?
My Luther people will continue to keep us informed. You should have taken it.
They make me throw it away, Shanique. They make me throw it away and you tell me
I thank you very much. Peggy, I thank you. Gabrielle, thank you. Howard, thank you so much. And listen, thanks to all of you for participating. I mean, you participated tonight in incredible measures. Thank you so much. I valued all of your comments, your inputs, questions. Certainly, of course, thank you again, and thank you for tuning in. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, of course, at the top of tonight's show, Aviation, Energy, and Utilities Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis, my Hot Topics panel. Thank you all so much. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.